Good afternoon. My co-speakers have talked about injuries specific to Army and Air Force and also high altitude. Now, I would be talking about ocular injuries and trauma specific to the Navy and more specifically to the Indian naval warships. Ocular trauma has been an unavoidable hazard of industrialization with the advent of machines in today's world. Now, ocular trauma is very common on board Indian naval warships. The reason, because a unique work environment, restriction of space, and the equipments that individuals deal with in an Indian naval ship. Now, let's take a walk in the environment in the ship and a submarine. Now, this is a picture where you see the personnel stay inside the ship. There's hardly any space between the bunks. And for an individual to navigate from one corner to another corner is difficult. The space in a submarine is even lesser. You can see the space, how people work in a restricted, confined environment. Personnel in a submarine have to move around and work within the torpedo tubes. Movement on a ship is not like any other natural area as people move around. It is through stairs. People have to go from one deck to another deck with stairs. So there is increased incidence of tripping, falling, slipping. So more chances, increased chances of ocular trauma, blunt trauma. Wait a second. Now, the equipments that the people deal with. You deal with guns, missiles, rockets. So there is increased incidence of burn injuries, electrocution in the personals. Now, activities which are specific to the Navy. Now, here is a picture which shows an aircraft carrier. Now, the individuals who are working on the flight deck have an increased risk of trauma due to high velocity particles on the deck hitting their eye when a high speed aircraft lands or takes off. There is risk when individuals work on the various equipments. Now, injury specific to Navy is that the personnel have to deal with the ropes, high tension ropes. These ropes are used in submarines and ships to secure the ships alongside. And these ropes are also used for personnel to get transferred from one ship to another ship, which is called an activity called jackstay. These high tension ropes easily snap off and they can cause serious trauma to the individuals. Activities in a submarine. Escape drills in a submarine are routinely done. This is a submariner. He is escaping from a submarine into a pressurized well. It has been seen that these individuals very commonly get subconjunctival hemorrhages. Now, a case scenario of ocular injuries on board ships. Now, a person sustained electrical burn trauma to 20% of the body while working on an engine room. He was evacuated to a tertiary care naval hospital where he was found to have an electrical traumatic cataract. Once the patient was stabilized, he was taken up for surgery. In a couple of months, phacoemulsification and IOL implant was done, and patient has had good visual recovery. In another case, a person while working on the flight deck was hit by a sharp object. Examination revealed a penetrating corneal injury with an iron nail. He was managed conservatively in the ship initially and then evacuated with an eye shield. The nail was removed, cornea sutured, and the cataract surgery was done, and an IOL was implanted at a later date. You can see the nail stuck to the cornea, causing a corneal penetrating injury, and the post-op pictures. In another case, while securing the rope, there was a blunt trauma to the eye. Patient had severe hyphema, traumatic mydriasis. Fundus showed a commotion. He had angle recession and ultimately ended up developing angle recession glaucoma, and the patient is on follow-ups. Another case, very commonly seen in the ships and submarines is battery blast injuries. Now, this individual had a chemical injury. Batteries generally have sulfuric acid. He came with corneal opacity, limbal ischemia, and a scleral melt. He was managed conservatively, and now he's doing all fine. Now, individuals, once they have an injury, are initially taken to the medical inspection room, which is called the sick bay, which is specific to the ship. Here they are stabilized, given the basic first aid, and then evacuated. Evacuation from the ship is through the flight deck. They are either evacuated with helicopters from the ship to a nearby naval
Australia,
or they can be evacuated by a boat or transferred from one ship to another ship. Trauma classification has already been discussed by my previous co-speaker. There's also an ocular trauma scoring. Scoring on the basis of various raw points are given on the basis of visual acuity, nature of injury, and presence or absence of RPD. This helps to categorize, predict the potential visual acuity outcomes. Now, management of traumatic cataract. Cataract in a penetrating trauma is because of the breach of the anterior capsule, which leads to hydration of the cortical fibers, either causing a focal or a total cataract. In a blunt trauma, it is a rosette-shaped cataract, which are stellate-shaped posterior axial opacities. Now, presentation pattern in traumatic cataracts. In a blunt trauma with no capsular defect, it would be a rosette-shaped cataract. In a case of penetrating injury, when there is a breach in the anterior capsule, the cataract would be either a flocculent lens matter coming into the AC, or it might be confined to the bag. It could be combined with anterior and posterior capsular rupture. In case of a blunt trauma, there could be a posterior capsular rupture with a nucleus drop. Now, various considerations of management in a traumatic cataract. Most important, timing of cataract surgery, when to operate, modification in the steps while operating. We should be sensitized towards the intraoperative problems and the post-op rehabilitation. Like if there is a traumatic cataract in a blunt trauma, like as you see a rosette-shaped cataract, with the capsule and the zonules intact, it can be treated as a normal cataract, and we can go in for a phacoemulsification surgery or an SICS. Primary repair only when there is a big defect. For example, in this picture, you see a corneal laceration from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock to 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And in this case, it was of paramount importance to maintain globe integrity. So first the corneal suturing was done, and afterward, at a later date, once the corneal edema resolved, the uveitis resolved, a cataract surgery was taken up. In a case scenario when we have to go in for a primary repair and cataract surgery in the same sitting, is you have a capsular breach, cortical matter in the AC, there is an endothelial touch, we need to remove the cataract with the cortical wash. And most important is that we should not manipulate the capsular frills. Some key points for the surgery: capsulorhexis, always stay in the capsule, use retroillumination, look for capsular tears, use forceps. The zonular integrity needs to be checked. If there is zonular weakness or dehiscence for about 3 to 4 clock hours, go in for a CTR. If it's more than that, a Sionese ring to be used. Addressing the cataract, if the bag is not stable, initiate the cataract surgery using iris or capsular hooks. If it's a soft cataract in a purely traumatic cataract, we can go in with irrigation aspiration, either use a bimanual cannula or a Simcoe's irrigation aspiration cannula. If there is a senile component, we need to go in for a phaco or SICS. Surgical parameters should be low when operating a traumatic cataract. IOL implantation can be in the bag, sulcus. If there is absence of capsular support, we can go in for SFIOL, either a glued or a suture fixated IOL. A video a video of a traumatic cataract. This happened in a person who was working on the flight deck. He was hit by a sharp nail and caused a corneal laceration with rupture of the anterior capsule, which led to a cataract. So initially the nail was removed, the corneal laceration was sutured, and the anterior capsule was stained by trypan blue, and then the cortical material was removed by a Simcoe irrigation IA cannula. The incisions were sutured with tenno nylon, and the patient is doing well. The angles can also be injured in case of traumatic cataract. In case of trauma, 60% of the eyes with non-penetrating or concussive trauma will develop angle recession. It is strongly associated with traumatic hyphema. If there is more than 180 degree of recession, they are at high risk of developing glaucoma. Management in angle recession glaucoma is medical. Surgical, we can go in for a filtering surgery or tubes, but there is high risk of failure of the surgery. So to sum it up, causes of injury, as I brought out, is because of slipping, falling, equipment-related inadequate training, fire and electrical injuries. Precautions that we need to take is protective goggles, protective face shields and helmets. All these protective gears are used by the personnel. There are standard operative procedures how to handle various equipments. The first aid is paramount for medical officers on the ship. They need to follow ABC for eye injuries. Always check the visual acuity. The best examination for both eyes is to be done. Contiguous structures where the injury has taken place in the eye to be checked. These, that is the drugs, as has been brought out by my co-speakers, they can give antibiotics, painkillers, and tetanus whenever required in case of open globe injuries. And do not put pressure bandage on the eye. Evacuate the patient with eye shields. And patients are given a period of convalescence when after having been treated at the Naval Hospital, and they are monitored in a sheltered appointment till they are ready to perform. Thank you.